Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital spoilers for Friday, January 30th, reveal that Lulu Spencer will horrify over Maxie Jones while Britt Westbourne delivers a murderous warning. Carly Spencer will also confess to Valentine Cassadine, so then's what GH suckers can anticipate. At Bad Gen Cafe, Lulu will flip out now that she's participated a kiss with Nathan West. As Lulu flies into fear mode, she'll contend Maxie would kill her if she knew Lulu had passions for Nathan. Of course, that means Lulu will admit she indeed has passions for Nathan, who may admit he's advanced passions, too. Nathan will get that it's complicated, but he might point out that they don't know for sure Maxie will ever wake up. Although both Nathan and Lulu want Maxie to come out of her coma, he may argue there are no guarantees and wonder if they should keep fighting this spark. Still, we know Maxie will awaken in the coming weeks, so effects are going to get indeed more complex for Nathan and Lulu soon. In the meantime, Trina Robinson will tell Portia Robinson that the trust between them is gone. Although Portia will hope to rebuild it, Trina will make it clear that she's not interested in that, at least not right now. In the Quartermain forces, Molly Lansing Davis will catch Cody Bell with her handwriting and lash out. Since Cody didn't have authorization to read it, Molly will complain about that. Cody will snap that Molly is just frenetic because now he knows what she really thinks of him. It'll be easy for Cody to see that he served as alleviation for this novel, but he wouldn't like how the character grounded on him is portrayed. Molly may scramble to explain since she wrote part of the book while she was bothered with Cody and fighting her passions. Christina Corinthos Davis was trying to come between Molly and Cody, so that told Molly's jotting at the time. At Carly Spencer's place, she'll make a concession. Carly will tell Valentine Cassadine that he's not who she allowed he was, so their bond will keep growing. Carly will extend an offer of some kind on Friday's show, so perhaps she'll be willing to arrange another Valentine and Charlotte Cassadine visit following all the snowy drama. In the meantime, Charlotte and Danny Morgan will have to deal with the fate of the kiss they just participated. Danny and Charlotte are alternate relatives once removed, so it'll be intriguing to see if they admit that and maybe play down it as a distant relative connection. Since Rocco Falconeri will struggle with some hurt passions on Friday's GH occasion, he might feel left out until he realizes commodity romantic is developing between Charlotte and Danny. At Windmere, director Ross Cullum will keep posing as Matthew the caretaker and quizzing Jocelyn Jacks about her life. Matthew will wonder what other secrets Jocelyn is keeping from him, but Joss will act like she's got nothing to hide. Over with Britt, she'll deliver a stern warning about the peril Jason Morgan could face once he knows the whole verity. These guys are murderous in every sense of the word, Britt says in Friday's GH exercise videotape. Jason will still want to help, so we'll see if Britt admits Cullum and Jen Sidwell are the bones controlling her drug force and forcing her to complete Caesar Faison's final design. General Hospital spoilers Jason will put some mystification pieces together once he gets updates on all Britt's news, so stay tuned. Trina is at home, talking to Kai on the phone, when her mama shows up at her door. Portia refuses to be ignored any longer, and says that this not talking cannot continue. Trina invites her mama in and eventually switches out, asking how she could cheat on her pater, get pregnant, and not know who the father is. Portia rehashes the whole story of Drew blackmailing her and keeping it a secret from her father, who at the time was busy cozying up to Jordan. Trina refuses to let her mama condemn her for cheating on her pater, since cheating on her hubby is her MO. She snarks, "I hope Dr. Gannon knows what he's in for." Trina argues that had the verity about Isaiah not come out on the stage, her mama likely no way would have told them the verity. Trina yells, "That's who you are, a fabricator." Portia swears she'd have told the verity about the baby. She's sorry she prevaricated to her now, and when she was youngish. All she wanted to do also was give Trina a family. Curtis left her when he set up out she was married to Taggart, and she was induced he wouldn't have stuck around to have a child with her. Trina says they'll no way know because of her choices. Portia cries that she did her stylish and no way anticipated her to be perfect, or to make the mistake she did. But indeed if Trina did, she'd still love her. Lulu asks for help at the sanitarium. Lulu arrives to pick up Rocco from his community service and meets with Nathan, whom she called. She tells him that Charlotte has gone missing and needs his help chancing her. Nathan is further than happy to give her a lift to the forces, where Lulu thinks she's gone. Rocco eventually shows up, and Lulu says they'll drop him off at the QS as she doesn't want him home alone if the power goes out. Carly calms Valentine down. Carly checks on Valentine in the garret and fills him in on Charlotte taking off. She says Lulu thinks she went to check on her steed, but she believes Charlotte is headed then to see her pater. Valentine worries as the storm worsens. He decides to go search for his son, but Carly says he can't do that, as he could get lost looking for her, and she could turn up then while he's out there. Charlotte confides in Danny. Charlotte arrives at the Quartermaines, and Danny asks what's going on and why the secretiveness. She explains her mama thinks she's going to check on her steed, but she needs to see her pater. To advise him that he's put his trust in a faithlessness traitor, Charlotte fills him in on what she eavesdropped Nina and Brennan agitating, and she can't believe she trusted her. She says Nina is one of the many people her pater trusts, so he needs to know she vended him out to Jack. Danny gets them fleeces and gear so they can journey over to Carly's. He also understands how it feels when someone you watch about lets you down, and he'd no way do that to her. She smiles and says she knows. Danny's phone tangs, and everyone is being advised to sanctum in place. The boy says her pater should be safe where he is, so they should sit put. Joss gets caught. Joss breaks into Windmere and begins looking for the entrance to the vault. Still, she's startled when she hears a noise and hides. A figure begins placing candlesticks around the place, and when he lights one, Joss can see its column. Joss makes her move and pretends to come in through the front, looking for her Uncle Lucas. She pretends to be surprised to see Cullum, spots the fire he's lit, and runs over to it, saying she got caught sailing in the storm. Cullum asks who she is. She explains she's Lucas' bastard. He says his name is Matthew, the caretaker, and the power went out, and everyone went to the landmass. Cullum asks what she was doing out in the storm, and she claims she was sailing to meet a friend on Porter Island for a blizzard bash, and it got too bad, and so she ended up then. Cullum brings out some drink and food and offers her a brandy, which she accepts. Everyone is getting stranded. Gio and Emma are at Anna's place, rush up, and prepare to head to Drew's to help Tracy. Still, the storm is too severe, and there's no way they can drive anywhere, so they shelter together in Anna's apartment. Tracy finds a guest at Drew's. Tracy lets herself into Drew's house, only to find a fire going. Martin surprises her and asks if she's a little overdressed for breaking and entering. Tracy says she didn't break in as she has a key. Martin knows nothing living then would have given her one, and snappily realizes she stole Scout's key. Martin asks why she's then. Tracy explains she's come to recoup her things, starting with the carafe he's holding. They dispute, as usual, and he points out that Drew is a Quartermaine, so he's entitled to some of these heritages. He asks if she has no compassion at all for the man, given his current state. Tracy yells she showed him mercy when she didn't let him bleed to death after being shot, which was further than he did for her son, Ned, whom he left to die from a heart attack. In the show's final moments at Trina's, Portia tells her son that she can't take back what she did, but asks if her son can love her anyway. Rocco arrives at the QS, finds the fire going, sees Charlotte's scarf hanging near the fireplace, but Danny and Charlotte are nowhere to be set up. In her garret, Carly suggests a game of checkers to distract Valentine from fussing about Charlotte. He notes, "Commodity tells me you cheat." At Windmere, Cullum asks Joss about herself. She says she's a pupil at PCU, and she's grown up in Port Charles up most of her life. What you see is what you get. He finds that hard to believe at Anna's. Emma and Gio can't get through to Tracy due to the storm knocking out cell signals, and they wonder if Tracy was suitable to make it to Drew's. They end up snuggling under a mask on the settee to keep warm. At Drew's, Tracy insists she's taking her effects tonight, but Martin says the roads are impassive and she's stuck then. Still, he'll let her stay in this warm house rather of sleeping in her auto if she asks him nicely. Finally, Nathan and Lulu end up breaking into the unrestricted cafe to seek retreat after Nathan's auto had spun out and off the road. On the coming General Hospital, Jason rescues a soaked, indurating Brit, and, stranded at the cafe, Nathan warns Lulu they're likely to lose power. Plus, get further spoilers for all the detergents for Thursday, January 29th, right then. The blizzard did not simply arrive in Port Charles, it descended like a reckoning. Snow swept through the streets in relentless waves, wind howled like a warning siren, and the entire town seemed to shrink beneath the weight of what the night would demand. Doors closed, fires were lit, candles flickered in ancient halls, and hearts across the city beat faster with fear, hope, and the kind of longing that refused to be silenced by the cold. It was a night that would baptize everyone in truth, some with warmth and forgiveness, others with rage and bitter threats that lingered long after the storm itself would pass. Lulu's panic and a kiss that changed everything. At Bad Gen Cafe, the air inside was thick with the scent of coffee and the tension of something that could not be undone. Lulu Spencer stood frozen in the middle of the room, her hand hovering in front of her like she could still feel the echo of Nathan West's touch. The kiss had happened in a moment of shared fear and closeness, a spark ignited by the storm and the uncertainty of everything around them. But now that the moment had passed, reality crashed down hard. Lulu's voice rose, her words tumbling out in a frantic rush. Maxie. Maxie's face, Maxie's laugh, Maxie's fragile body lying in a hospital bed, suspended between breaths and silence. Lulu insisted that if Maxie ever found out, she would never forgive them, not the kiss, not the feelings behind it, not the betrayal Lulu feared she had already committed in her heart. And in saying that, she confessed the truth she had been trying to bury. She cared for Nathan. More than she should. More than she was willing to admit out loud. Nathan didn't pull away. He didn't deny it. Instead, he admitted quietly that he felt it too, that something had grown between them in the shadows of worry and late-night conversations, in the space where fear of loss had turned into a hunger for connection. He said he understood how complicated it was, how wrong it felt when Maxie was still fighting to wake up. But he also spoke the words neither of them wanted to hear: there were no guarantees. He didn't say Maxie wouldn't recover. He didn't say he didn't want her to. But he admitted the future was uncertain, and he asked Lulu a question that cut deeper than the storm outside: should they really keep pushing this spark away, pretending it didn't exist, when it already had a life of its own? Lulu had no answer. Only a heart caught between loyalty and longing, between hope for her friend and the undeniable pull of something new. The cafe windows rattled as the wind slammed against them, and Lulu felt like the storm was inside her now, too. Trina and Portia, the breaking of a bond. Across town, in the quiet of Trina Robinson's home, a different kind of storm raged. Trina had been trying to pretend her mother's presence at the door didn't shake her, but when Portia stepped inside, the walls felt like they were closing in. Portia spoke first, her voice trembling with resolve and fear. She refused to let the silence between them stretch any further. She couldn't live in a world where her daughter shut her out completely. Trina didn't ease into her anger, she unleashed it. She demanded to know how Portia could betray her father, get pregnant, and then claim she didn't even know who the father was. Every word felt like a knife, and Trina wielded them with the fury of someone who had been hurt too many times by the person who was supposed to protect her. Portia tried to explain. She talked about Drew's blackmail, about secrets forced on her, about a moment in her life when she felt cornered by fear and loneliness. She mentioned Curtis, how he had left when he discovered she was married to Taggart, how she believed he would never have stayed to raise a child with her. Trina refused to let her rewrite the past. She accused Portia of making excuses, of hiding behind circumstances instead of owning her choices. Her voice rose as she said the truth only came out because it was dragged into the light, not because Portia chose to reveal it. "That's who you are," Trina shouted. "A liar." Portia broke down then. She admitted her mistakes. She admitted the lies, not just now, but years ago. She said all she ever wanted was to give Trina a family, a sense of stability she herself had never known how to hold on to. She told her daughter she didn't expect perfection, not from herself, not from Trina, not from anyone. But she swore that no matter what, no matter how angry Trina was, she would always love her. Trina didn't forgive her. Not yet. But she didn't slam the door either. The space between them was raw, wounded, and uncertain, but the storm outside wasn't the only thing that hadn't finished its work. Molly, Cody, and the truth on the page. At the Quartermain stables, the snow piled up against the wooden walls as Molly Lansing Davis stormed in, her eyes blazing. In Cody Bell's hands was her manuscript, her private thoughts, her hidden feelings, laid bare on paper she never meant for him to see. She lashed out, accusing him of crossing a line, of reading something that wasn't his to touch. Cody fired back, saying she wasn't really mad about the invasion of privacy, she was mad because now he knew what she truly thought of him. The truth was impossible to deny. The character in her story was him, thinly disguised, shaped by her frustration and the emotions she had been trying to suppress. Cody didn't like what he saw on the page. He didn't like the version of himself she had created, flawed, infuriating, and tangled in feelings she hadn't known how to face. Molly tried to explain. She admitted she had written parts of the book when she was angry, when Christina had been whispering doubts in her ear, when her own heart had been a battlefield of attraction and resentment. The words had been an outlet, a way to say what she couldn't say to Cody's face. Cody listened, but the hurt lingered. Sometimes, he said, the truth on the page cut deeper than anything spoken out loud. Carly's confession and Valentine's fear. In the attic at Carly Spencer's place, warmth and worry coexisted in uneasy balance. The fire glowed, but Valentine Cassadine couldn't stop pacing. His daughter, Charlotte, was missing in the storm, and every gust of wind outside felt like a threat closing in on her. Carly tried to calm him, telling him that Lulu believed Charlotte had gone to check on her horse. But Carly's instincts whispered something else. Charlotte wasn't headed to the stables. She was coming here. She wanted to see her father. Valentine's first instinct was to go out and search, to face the storm head-on. Carly stopped him, her voice firm. She told him that if he left, he could miss Charlotte if she arrived while he was gone. She reminded him that the storm didn't care about good intentions, it could swallow anyone who dared to challenge it. Then Carly did something unexpected. She confessed. She told Valentine that he wasn't who she thought he was, not in a bad way, but in a way that surprised her. She admitted that she had misjudged him, that beneath the Cassadine name and the reputation that came with it, she saw someone who loved fiercely and feared deeply for his child. Her words softened him. The bond between them deepened, and Carly extended an offer, a promise that when this storm passed, she would help make sure Valentine and Charlotte could spend time together again, no matter how complicated things had become. To distract him, Carly suggested a game of checkers. Valentine raised an eyebrow and joked that he suspected she cheated. Carly laughed, and for a brief moment, the storm outside faded into the background. Charlotte, Danny, and a dangerous secret. At the Quartermain mansion, Charlotte arrived breathless, her cheeks flushed from cold and emotion. Danny Morgan noticed immediately that something was wrong. She told him what she had overheard, Nina and Jack Brennan in a conversation that felt like a betrayal, a secret that could shatter her father's trust. She said Valentine needed to know. He needed to be warned that someone he believed in had sold him out. Danny understood the feeling of being let down by someone you care about. He promised he would never do that to her. The words made Charlotte smile, even in the middle of her fear. They grabbed coats, ready to brave the storm, but then Danny's phone buzzed with an alert, shelter in place. The roads were too dangerous. Charlotte's father, Danny said, was probably safest where he was. They would have to wait. The fire crackled behind them as they sat close, the weight of the secret between them, the storm outside sealing them in. Later, Rocco Falconeri arrived and saw Charlotte's scarf near the fireplace, but no sign of Charlotte or Danny. The absence felt like a warning, and his heart sank with a mix of worry and something he didn't yet understand, the beginning of realizing he might be losing more than just a friend. Jocelyn and Cullum, lies in candlelight. At Windmere, the castle stood in darkness, its ancient walls lit only by candles placed carefully along the halls. Jocelyn Jacks moved like a shadow, searching for the entrance to the catacombs, her heart pounding with every step. Then she heard him. Director Ross Cullum, or rather, the man pretending to be Matthew, the caretaker, moved through the room, lighting candlesticks, bringing the castle to life one small flame at a time. Jocelyn hid, then made her move. She pretended to come in through the front, calling out for her Uncle Lucas, acting startled when she saw Cullum. She claimed she had been caught in the storm while sailing to a blizzard party on Porter Island. Cullum studied her carefully. He brought out food and drink, offered her brandy, and they sat together by the fire, two liars sharing warmth, each trying to uncover the other's secrets without revealing their own. Jocelyn said she was a student at PCU, that she had grown up in Port Charles, that what you saw was what you got. Cullum smiled, but he didn't believe her. He told her people who said they had nothing to hide usually hid the most. Their words were polite. Their eyes were not. Britt's lethal warning. Elsewhere, Britt Westbourne stood in front of Jason Morgan, her expression hard, her voice deadly serious. She warned him that the people involved in what she was doing, what she was being forced to do, were lethal in every sense of the word. Jason didn't back down. He wanted to help, wanted to pull her out of whatever trap she was in. Britt hesitated, then hinted at the truth, about Cullum and Jen Sidwell, about the way they controlled her access to her own medication, about how they were forcing her to complete the final project left behind by Caesar Faison. The words came out like a confession and a threat all at once. Jason began to piece it together, the puzzle forming in his mind. The danger wasn't just theoretical. It was real. It was close. And it was willing to destroy anyone who got in the way. The night's final baptism. At Anna's place, Emma and Gio were stranded, wrapped in blankets on the couch, sharing warmth and quiet laughter as the storm raged outside. At Drew's house, Tracy and Martin bickered by the fire, their sharp words hiding a reluctant truce as the roads became impassable and neither could leave. And back at Bad Gen Cafe, Nathan and Lulu, soaked in cold after Nathan's car spun off the road, broke in to seek shelter. The power flickered. Nathan warned they might lose it completely. The blizzard had turned Port Charles into a series of small islands, cafes, attics, mansions, castles, each one holding its own confessions, its own threats, its own fragile moments of connection. Encouraging words were whispered by firesides. Angry accusations echoed in living rooms. Dangerous promises were made in candlelit halls. By the time dawn would break, the storm would have baptized them all, washing away some lies, hardening other truths, and leaving behind a city forever changed by one long, unforgiving night.